Hi there, RC Girl here. Today I have on my bench the RC4WD Gelande 2 Land Rover Defender Heritage Edition. 2015 was the last year that Land Rover made their original Defender. So this is the Heritage Edition scale replica. It comes in two different hard body types. I have the light green one over here. So excited. This is such a cool scale replica. I'm a big fan of the Land Rover Defender. Today we're gonna unbox it. I'm gonna show you guys what comes in the RTR. It actually comes with everything you need to get you going, including batteries. Then we're gonna take it outside my backyard crawler course and show you guys how this thing performs out on the trails. As far as capability, the scale rigs are gonna be a little bit different of a driving style, so I'm excited to test that out. If you guys wanna check this out too and see how it performs, stay tuned. So if you're new to my channel, welcome. Here you're gonna find RC reviews, tips and tricks, run videos, flight videos, and other things related to RC. So if you guys wanna see more, make sure you like and subscribe. Also head over to my Instagram and Facebook. I'll put a link to those down below. Do a lot of behind the scenes stuff, so if you guys don't wanna miss anything, check those out. Okay, let's dive on in. Thing is so freaking cool. Looks like we have our transmitter here. I'll go over this in a little bit more detail. Decal pack. Silica gel. Batteries for your transmitter. It comes with a 3000 milliamp NIMH battery. I actually use LiPo, so I don't think I'm gonna be using this one. But if you're new to RC, this RTR version will get you going. Looks like we have our wall. Here's just your standard wall charger for the NIMH battery. Comes with a couple different adapters for different countries. Our instructions packet, looks like there's a little battery strap here and a couple different other goodies. We'll check that out in a second. All right, to the rig. Here it is. This thing has a ton of cool scale features. This is a 10.8 inch wheelbase, so it's gonna be a couple inches smaller than something like your TRX4 Land Rover Defender. This is the Grassmere green version. This comes with the truck bed style, comes with cool scale mirrors that we had to assemble. It had actually two different types of scale mirrors. This is the soft rubbery kind, so it'll kind of, if you hit something on the trail, it'll just bounce back. These are harder plastics. Also has scaled door handles. Both of the doors open to this really neat scale interior. I really like too that they have the driver on the right side like it is in the UK. Also the back tailgate opens, so cool. Really neat. You have windshield wipers here on the front. We have some cool hood vents here. This thing is ready to be set up with the full light kit. It doesn't come with LED lights, but I am going to get a full My Trick RC light kit. They have an amazing kit for scale rigs like this. It'll hold LED lights here. You can just screw them in and they just slot in, and this plate holds them in place. And our hood pops up too here. So awesome, so you can look inside. You can even 3D print a engine bay if you want. Right now, you can peek in and see your motor, your servo, your transmission. We have front and rear metal bumpers here. Next, let's take a look at our wheels. These are 1.9 inch 5-lug wagon wheels. They're stamped steel bead locks. They've mounted dirt grabber tires in X3 compound. So the tires are 1.9 inch inner diameter, but 3.5 inch outer diameter. So they're gonna be a smaller tire. Now let's take a look at our internals. I like that the body pins are hidden here. So to get the body off, you just unclip these 4 tiny body clips here. It has an aluminum ladder frame chassis. For our suspension, it has a 3-link front and 4-link rear suspension. It comes with 80mm dual spring shocks. They can be oil filled, but I believe they shipped them without any oil. I probably am going to fill them with shock oil. I just really like the feel of oil-filled shocks. And it mounts to these realistic looking shock loops here. For our transmission, we have an R3 single-speed transmission with a cast metal case and an aluminum motor mount. This is going to be a really heavy transmission case. It's mounted up at your front, so you're going to have a little bit more weight towards the front of your vehicle, which is really good for crawling. Helps your front end really dig in when you're on a climb. Keeps your center of gravity low as well. We also have a center mounted die-cast transfer case here. Next, let's check out our electronics. So I was a little bit worried about the ESC being LiPo compatible, but it has this 3-pin design here where you can transfer between LiPo and NIMH. It also has a couple settings for forward, braking, reverse, or if you don't want any reverse, you could just have forward or braking, or you could have forward and reverse. So a little bit of tunability there. I am gonna have to solder on an XT60. It has this older clip design here for NIMH batteries, which I'm not gonna be using. Let's take a look now at our motor. So this is a RC4-wheel drive 45 turn brushed motor. It's a 540 size. It comes with a 14-tooth pinion. This should be a nice slow crawler motor. This is again over a 6-pound rig, so it does need a little bit of power. Our servo is a chassis mounted servo. It's a twister high torque metal gear servo. 25-tooth spline count for our servo arm. One thing I thought was really cool is that there's a lot of clearance on your front link here with your steering. It allows you to use the full range of motion of your steering without that front link hitting your diff box. Let's take a look at our axles here. So these are RC4-wheel drive cast Yoda 2 axles. They have removable diff covers, also an offset pumpkin here in the front. Our receiver is hidden in this plastic fuel cell receiver box. I don't believe it's waterproof, so we might have to do some waterproofing mod, either with some weather stripping or some grease. You're gonna be using one channel with your motor, the second with your servo. Our radio is an XR3 3-channel radio system. It does feel a little cheap in the hand, but it does have a lot of cool features. So let's go into those a little bit. So you can set your endpoints for your steering, your throttle, and your 3rd channel. It's really important to set your steering endpoints because you don't want your servo to be extending beyond where the wheels can actually turn. And I believe our 3rd channel is this 3-position switch down here. So that is it for all of the features. I'm very impressed with this rig. Really great scale replica. I think RC4-wheel drive did a great job at translating the 2015 Heritage Edition into an RC. Land Rover enthusiasts will be very proud. I think this rig would also be great for someone that's interested in getting to the more scale part of the RC hobby. You're not going to be able to crawl all the things that your axial bomber can with those huge tires. So this is definitely going to be a little bit different of a driving style. It's not going to be something you want to bash around. It's going to be more of a showpiece. But we also do want it to perform, so let's take it outside. Now that I've had a little time to drive this tiny truck around, I wanted to share some of my early thoughts and initial impressions. First off, for our battery size, I think the largest size that you could fit in this is probably a 5,000 milliamp hard pack. There's not a ton of clearance between your hard body and the battery pack, so just make sure you're not running something that is too tall. I actually had to flip the battery over so that the cables were not facing up. Even the battery leads were getting in the way. I was also running a 2S LiPo pack on this, and it was just enough speed. I think a 3S might be a little too fast for this thing. Totally up to you guys though. One of the downsides, the body is super hard to get on and off. It takes me a couple minutes each time because the body pins are facing up inside the body. They're super tiny, and there's 4 of them right behind the wheels. Just gonna take some time. Luckily, there is an on and off switch underneath the chassis. Actually, when I first plugged in the battery, I was like, why is nothing turning on? Nothing was working. I thought I got a bum ESC, but it was actually just flipping on the on switch and finding that. Whoops. So when I finally got the rig plugged in, everything going, I noticed that my motor cables were switched. I was having an issue where I had way quicker speed in reverse than I did going forward. It ended up being that my motor cables were swapped from the factory. So I had to plug the red motor cable into the black one. Totally fine. That'll reverse your motor for you. Now I have all my drag brake settings. Everything's working properly. Just a quick switch. I don't know if that's going to be like that for all of the models. Just something to look out for if your throttle control seems to be a little bit wonky. So I did end up using the transmitter that came in the RTR. I actually really like all the endpoint adjustment settings, so you can actually tune down your top speed, your throttle. When you really want to have some slower speed, a little bit more control, you can just dial down your throttle endpoint. One thing that was a little bit annoying throughout my run is that the mirrors kept coming undone, so you can see them kind of flopping around here and there throughout the run video. I ended up having to install longer screws. Tiny long screws. They were a little bit hard to find, but now they're staying in place and functioning like they should be. Another pro is that this is an all-metal truck, nice and heavy. It has that realistic body movement, which I really like. Really high quality components all around. The truck is actually quite capable for being a short wheelbase truck, and also with those tinier tires. It actually did make it up one of my more challenging features, that spiral staircase. I didn't show the whole run because it took me a couple minutes to get up that thing, reversing a couple times, but it did make it up without any issues and made it across the bridge. It's actually a quite capable little crawler. It did end up toppling over once. There's some scratches on the body now, but I think that just adds to the more realistic look of it. It was a little bit too shiny. I did find a cool photo of a full-scale 2015 Defender. It has a black grille, so I might paint the grille and the light buckets black, maybe even the canopy. So give it a nice little custom look. The steering was actually really great too. I forgot to mention earlier, there's actually 2 front steering links. One's in front of the axle and one's behind the axle. And our servo is actually pretty strong. I got my finger caught in the behind the axle link. It actually hurt quite bad. Be careful with the kids and those tiny fingers. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was really fun testing out the Gelande 2 from RC4WD Gelande. I'll put a link to this in the description box below if you guys want to check it out. There's way more features that I didn't go over in detail, so if you want to see more, check out that link. Thanks to RC4WD Gelande. As always, make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you later.